All right, what's going on? Happy Monday. Welcome to Flames Nation Live. It's Pat Steinberg with you, freshly cut. No more ridiculous hair. Live at our Sportsnet 960 downtown studios. Just wrapped up our Flames Talk edition on this Monday. Who do we have with us? Lots to get to today. We got plenty of friends with us. Dustin in first, Josh, Pat, JF with us as well. Get your questions in, get your comments in on the live chat. Would love to interact with you in that way. Lots to talk about as the Flames come off a perfect road trip. They go 4 for 4. They beat LA, they beat Anaheim, they beat San Jose, and they beat Seattle. Now, only one of those teams a playoff team, but at this time of year, you got to win games. And at this time of year, if you want to win the Pacific Division, you got to beat teams that are not going to the playoffs. And that's exactly what the Flames did in the final 3 games. They got their game back on track after 3 games that were not so good to wrap up what was kind of just a mediocre meh homestand by their standards this year. So good road trip. Now getting set to take on the Seattle Kraken on Tuesday. So comments, questions, welcome on the live chat. We're brought to you as always by our friends at DoorDash, where you know what to do. Go download the app. Go create the account. DoorDash yourself some dinner on a Monday. It's a busy Flames week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So if you're staying at home, you might as well DoorDash yourself some food. So this program, Flames Nation Live, Flames Nation Radio, all kinds of properties brought to you by our friends, as always, at DoorDash. Here's the update from practice. A very full practice for the Flames on Monday morning. Good news as Oliver Shillington and Eric Goodbranson return to the ice. Shillington's missed the last 5 games with an upper body injury. Goodbranson's missed the last 2 games with an undisclosed ailment. So seeing those guys back on the ice was good. In fact, the Flames had 15 forwards today. 8 defensemen and 2 goaltenders on the ice, so a very well-attended practice. Now, Goodbranson was back on his regular D pairing with Nikita Zadorov, but Shillington was skating as a forward, and no need to dig too much into him skating as a forward. No, they're not moving him to forward, but in his first practice back after missing a few weeks, they put him in on the 5th forward line with Yarncroke, who's missed a bunch of games recovering from an illness, and Ruzicka. They put him in as a 5th forward line to get him some skating, to get his legs back under him. I'm sure in the very near future, he'll be back in the top 6. Whether he plays against Seattle on Tuesday is another question. However, in that same vein, Oliver did talk on Tuesday, and he definitely... he definitely believes that he's ready to return, and we'll see when he gets back in. Here was Oliver after practice on Monday.
Yeah, I'm ready to go and available. So, it's not fun to watch games and sit out, but our team is doing great. Players are chipping in and playing good hockey, so I'm happy to see that.
Not to dwell on it too much. You have been having an excellent season, and so when you have a little blip, it's probably a bit frustrating just to kind of lose that momentum, but probably not that hard to gain again.
Yeah, I just try to, get back to where I were and just be ready to go and play as hard as I can.
So Oliver Shillington is back at practice. We'll see when he is back on the ice. That video courtesy of the Calgary Flames. We'll see when he's back on the ice, and we'll see when he returns to action. Tuesday against Seattle, Thursday against Vegas. We shall wait and see. Let's get to the live chat for the first time. Plenty of time for you to jump in on the live chat. And again, Dustin asking, will Shillington play forward looking at the practice lines? No. That was... You have with 8 defensemen, and with Shillington having not played in a while, they just put him at forward in his first practice back, get his legs under him. He's not going to be playing forward. He's still a defenseman on this team, but that's just a way, like we've seen at different times when you're the extra forward, you can sometimes take reps on defense. Like Brad Richardson, when he was here, took reps on defense a lot during practice, even though he's a forward. It's just a way to get your legs back underneath you. And I do think at some point you're going to start to see some of the extra bodies head back to Stockton. Right now, Ruzicka, Valimaki, Mackey, all up from Stockton. At some point, I think you'll see some of those guys go back so that you're not talking about, geez, that was 23 skaters, 25 guys, period, when you're talking about the goaltenders. It's a lot for practice. Darryl would rather have a smaller number of players at practice, so we'll wait and see when that ends up happening. But no, that is not going to be Oliver's permanent spot at forward. And to Dallas's point, I don't think putting Shillington or Valimaki at wing makes a ton of sense. Like, it just, I don't know. They're defensemen. Valimaki playing defense at the American League level is probably best for him. And here's my take on Shillington. Yes, he's missed the last 5 games, and yes, Connor Mackey has played the last 2 games on the left side of Chris Tanev on the right. But for me, Shillington's healthy. Shillington's been the best option with Tanev all year long. I think just having him back with Tanev is the way to go. I think the top 6 that we've seen for most of the year, the top 6 of Hannafin with Anderson, Shillington with Tanev, and Zadorov with Goodbranson, when all 6 of those guys are healthy, that to me is the ideal top 6. That's not a knock on Mackey, who I thought was fine in his 2 games, but I think Shillington's ahead of him on the depth chart right now. That's no knock on Valimaki or Michael Stone either, but those 6 guys have been so constant, and the Flames have been very good and are in the driver's seat to win the Pacific Division with those 6 guys. I just think you're overthinking it if you're starting to talk about taking certain players off or moving things around. Those 6, I think, in my opinion, are the ideal 6 for the Calgary Flames when everybody's healthy. Obviously, on the road trip, not everybody was healthy. Still time on the live chat. Get your questions in, get your comments in. Back to that in just a second. But we have hooked up with the fine people at Manscaped. And after lighting the lamp, hit the showers with this all-in-one skin and hair care kit that covers you from head to toe, literally. Manscaped is trusted below the waist. Now trust them with the rest. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code FLAMES. I went professionally and got my hair cut prior to the weekend, but I definitely needed something to take that hair down. But I need a trimmer nonetheless, and I've put the order in at Manscaped over the weekend. I need a trimmer for the eyebrows and for the mustache and stuff like that. So I went and I did the exact same thing. I got the 20% off and the free shipping by using the promo code FLAMES. Once again, go to manscaped.com, use the promo code FLAMES. You get 20% off plus free shipping. Let's head back to the live chat. This from JF. Do we know what Goodbranson had or just some rest? I wonder. We don't, and they're not going to be super forthcoming with that at this time of year. My guess is he was sick, though, because there is something going through the locker room right now. Yarncroke's missed a bunch of games, and he's still working his way back from an illness. So my guess is that he was under the weather, but that's just a guess. But he was back in a full participant at practice today on his regular right side with Zadorov on the left. Damien says, Pat, finally get to catch a Flames Nation live. Damn time zone differences. Welcome, Damien. Says, I think Markey needs a few more days off to give Vladar a few more reps. I'm curious as to who starts on Tuesday. Do they go back to Vladar against Seattle and then Markstrom Thursday against Vegas? I'll be curious to see what they do goaltending-wise for the game against the Kraken. Dallas says, shouldn't they rest Zadorov and Goodbranson? Not until they've clinched. I don't think you're resting guys until they're clinched in the Pacific Division specifically. Once the Pacific Division is wrapped up, which I think it will be, but once it's wrapped up, that's when you can start to strategically rest guys. Until then, I think you're playing with fire if you're doing that. So when guys are sick, hold them out. When guys are nursing things, hold them out. Sure, you don't need to be forcing guys to play, but when guys are healthy, I don't think resting just for the sake of rest makes sense this instant. At some point very soon, yes. This instant, maybe not, at least in my opinion. And I get the question. I really do. I just don't think now's the time to do so. I mean, they could be clinched by the end of the week, and they could be clinched sometime next week for the Pacific. But as of right now, until you've got that X and that Y beside your name, I don't think it's the right time to be resting unless it's for guys that are actually nursing something and you're holding them out for those reasons. from Zach. Stones looked like Ovechkin the last few games in that office. Love it. He's working nicely as a seventh defenseman. What a dark horse. Who said we needed depth on D again? I did. They didn't acquire somebody on defense. The only reason I thought going to get another depth defenseman was important was because when injuries hit in the postseason, the more options you can have and the more different types of players you can have is important. In saying that, Zach, I don't think it was something that if they didn't go and do it, they were going to be, they were going to be so shorthanded or in such a bad spot. I just think you can never have enough depth on the blue line. That's just my opinion. Dustin says, been great to see the younger guys play really shows the depth of the team. And yeah, they won that game in Anaheim without Zadorov, without Goodbranson. They won the game against Seattle, or was it the game against San Jose? They didn't have Zadorov and Branson. Yeah, it was that game, I think. They won the game against Seattle, too. Yeah, it was the San Jose game. They had all those players missing. Then the game against Seattle, they were missing some players as well. Definitely shows the depth. And what's also impressive is Stockton in the American League also keeps winning and picking up points. And they've been without Ruzicka and Valimaki and Mackey the last few games. They went up against their number one rival, the team that is pushing them the most on top of the American League's Pacific Division, and took 3 of a possible 4 points from them over the weekend, and that's the Ontario Reign. So that shows the depth of the organization and how well that is progressing, which I think is also a really important thing to point out. Still time to get some comments or questions in on the live chat. A reminder right now that you can go hit the App Store if you're an iPhone user. Go hit Google Play if you're an Android user, and download the Calgary Flames keyboard. All you got to do is type in Calgary Flames keyboard. It gets you some really cool emojis, get you some really cool things that you can plug into your chats with your friends, your Flames group chats, your NHL group chats, whatever the case may be. Go check it out. All you got to do, go to Google Play if you're an Android user, or Apple, the Apple Store or the App Store rather, if you're an Apple user, and download the Calgary Flames keyboard. A few more comments before we start to wrap things up. This from Zach. What first-round opponent is the best possible matchup for the Flames, in your opinion? I don't like answering that one because I've been wrong the last 2 years. I thought Colorado was the best possible matchup for the Flames in round 1 in 2019. They lost in 5. I thought Dallas was the best possible first-round opponent after they got past Winnipeg in the bubble, and they lost in 6. I think they're going to win the Pacific most likely, which means they're most likely going to get a Central Division team. Of the teams that they could face, it's Nashville, Dallas, and Vegas that are kind of the 3 teams that they could face within reason. Like, I don't think St. Louis is dropping down. I don't think Minnesota is dropping down. I think you can probably start to pencil in dark graphite, Colorado, St. Louis, Minnesota in some order in the Central. So then it comes down to the 3 teams that you could have in the wild card spot. I think Vegas's best bet to get in is by catching the Kings in the Pacific. My gut says it'll be a combination, or it'll be in some order, Nashville or Dallas. They're a point apart with even games played. Nashville would be the number 1 right now, and Dallas would be the number 2. Of those 3 teams, I think Dallas is the team that scares me the least, but there's no easy matchup for them in round 1. There's just not. Like, I don't think there is a most ideal matchup. Dallas beat them in 2020 with a very similar team. Ottinger's playing great. Nashville's got incredible high-end talent and a dynamite goaltender who's in the Vezina Trophy conversation in UC Saros. They got the Norris Trophy winner most likely in Roman Josi. And obviously a healthy Vegas is like a no thanks. So I don't think there is an ideal first-round matchup. They got to win a damn round. They've got to win a round. That's whoever they play. They have got to win a round, and there will be no success this year if the Flames do not win a first-round opponent, because whoever they play against in round 1, they'll be favored against, and they got to beat that team. Dallas, Nashville, Vegas, St. Louis, Minnesota, you got to win a round. That's all it comes down to. I don't care who they play. It's a failure if they don't win a round. I think they're going to win a round, but they got to do it. So I don't know if there is, in my opinion, an ideal first-round matchup. What else we got here? A few more. Pat, if you were Brad, what do you do with 13, 19, and 88? You know what I do? I sign them all to long-term extensions. That's what I do. I sign Johnny to 8 times 10. I sign Matthew to 8 times 9.5, and I sign Andrew to 6 times 5. That's what I do if I'm Brad Treliving. Obviously, it's not that easy, but I think I think you need to move heaven and earth to sign all 3 of those guys. JF says, feels like we're going for a battle of Alberta in the second round. Both teams have got to hold up their end of the bargain. Like if Edmonton's, right now, LA is so vulnerable in third in the Pacific. Vegas is hot on their heels. Who's confident, who is supremely confident Edmonton beats Vegas in round 1? I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying that I don't think you can be super confident that they will. And again, the Flames have got to hold up their end of the bargain to get our first Battle of Alberta since 1991. Dustin says Nashville scares me. They scare me too. Zach says, could they play the Kings at all? In theory, couldn't Vegas catch them and then the Kings slide into the wild card spot? Yes, theoretically, although I don't see LA being the number 1 wild card. I don't even know if I see Vegas being the number 1 wild card. If there are 4 Pacific teams that make the playoffs, my gut says the 4th will be the number 2 wild card, which would have them playing Colorado. But my gut says it'll be 5 Central and 2 Pacific teams when it's all said and done. Will it be Vegas or LA as the 3rd Pacific? That's kind of what my gut says, but obviously that's just a gut feeling. Plenty of things could happen, and that could be proven to be quite wrong because it's going to be a pretty unpredictable final 3 weeks of the season. Great stuff, as always, as Flames Nation Live starts to wrap up on this Monday. A reminder one more time, go download the app, go create the account, as Flames Nation Live is brought to you by DoorDash. DoorDash yourself some dinner on this Monday. DoorDash yourself some lunch Tuesday or the rest of the week. Go create that account, download the app, and don't forget to use the promo code FNLiveDD. Great stuff as always. Appreciate the interaction. If you joined us live, we'll do another one later on this week. For DoorDash, this is Flames Nation Live. Stay kind to one another. Be safe. My name is Pat. Talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your Monday and have a great week. Thanks for stopping by.